Now we are learning the Dvar Malchut. This is a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe in 1991. Tafshin Nun Aleph. And the dates are a little bit different from the days of the week this year than it was in 1991, but it still, of course, is very, very relevant. And of course, the subject that we're dealing with is this week's Torah portion, talking about the journeys of the Jewish people in the desert. And it's also the end of the book of Numbers, the fourth book of the Torah. Or according to what we learned before, it's the sixth book of the Torah. If you say there's 7 books. And of course, the destruction of the temple. Now we're in the days of 3 weeks of mourning over the first and second temples. And of course, anticipation of the third temple. It's supposed to come any moment. Okay. One of the special topics of this Shabbat, that in it we finish the book of Numbers, Sefer Revi, the fourth book of the Torah, that it ends, Shesiumo, that its end really is the ending of all of the Torah. Why? Because the first 4 books of the Torah, that was said by God to Moses. And the last book, that was just Moses, the book of Deuteronomy. Dvar was just Moses repeating over things that happened previously. There's a lot of laws that were added on in the book of Deuteronomy. A lot of laws were added on. Hundreds. But nevertheless, essentially what it is Moses repeating to the Jewish people what they have to remember now they're going into the land of Israel. In short, the first 4 books are from God. The last book is from Moses, but Moses, everything he said was God speaking through his mouth. Okay, so it says the first 4 books, Shari Sefer Chamish, the 5th book of the Torah, is called Mishnah Torah. It's the repetition of the Torah. Shechozer v'kolel, that it repeats and includes in itself the 4 books that were previous. And after that, Machrizim, after we finish reading this book of the Torah, the 4th book of the Torah, and the last one, when the one who reads the Torah says the last sentence, so everyone in the synagogue says in a loud voice, Chazak, chazak, vanit chazek, be strong, and we will be strengthened. Shemor ala chozek, this is talking about being strong of the Jewish people in any matters of the Torah. Hashem ozlam oiten. The Torah is supposed to be strength. Ba'ad she'achozek gufa, until the strength is 3 times. Chazak, chazak, be strong, and we will be strengthened. Sheyesh bo ilui, it has number 3. 3 times being strong. Because 3 times is called a chazakah. Chazakah means to be strengthened. If a person does something 3 times, it's considered as that's like a vow. It's like a permanent thing. By it. The tzorich lahavin, we have to understand hakesher v'sheichut, the siyum sefer revi'ah of the 4th book of the Torah, shetochano shel hazman, that it was shel olam mesayim sefer revi'ah, that always we finish the 4th book of the Torah in these 3 Shabbatot, these 3 weeks, which are from Yud Zayin Tammuz till Tisha B'Av, which commemorate the time when the temples were destroyed, first and the second temples. And sometimes, sometimes, like in this year, the first Shabbat of the 9 days, the last 9 days of, by us it's not going to be, it's going to be the day after. The Lechiora, Hazman, the Gimel Shabbatot, these 3 Shabbatot, these 21 days of, so to speak, of mourning that we have, that we're, what do you say, of misery, remembering the destruction of the temple, and that the temple was destroyed because of our deeds, what we did. And then if it's not rebuilt, it's a sign we're still doing the same thing. And especially these last 9 days of destruction and exile, this shows how the Jewish people are weak. Chalash. We have not utilized the power that God has given us to defy the world. We gave into the world. So these 3 weeks are commemorating the weakness of the Jewish people. That's why we're in exile, because we weren't able to stand up against our own urges and our own whatever is against the peer pressure, whatever. So these 3 weeks are 3 weeks. I mean, you could make a play on words instead of W-E-E-K, W-E-A-K, right? Weeks. So these are of how do you say, of weakness. The hepech, exactly the opposite of this week's Torah reading that finishes with be strong, and we will be strong. Okay, maybe we can say it very simply. In the cave and Zuzman, since this time is commemorating a situation of being weak, right? That the Jewish people didn't have the power to defy the world and to do what God says. Therefore, the temple was destroyed because we were, they say, lacking. Therefore, Mugash Yoter. So now we have a necessity that we have to be strong. So it's not, contradicting. Exactly the opposite. It's a person who's weak, he takes vitamins. So the weakness we have are the 3 weeks, and the vitamins are the Torah. Of a Yoter Nira, but maybe, says the Rebbe, that's one way of looking at it. But maybe, says the Rebbe, I think we can say like this, that the strength itself comes from the time. It's not that we are weak and therefore the Torah gives us strength. The time is demanding, screaming out, help, help. No. The day of Shabbat, that indicates the essence. This Shabbat is called Shabbat Chazak. If it's a Shabbat that we finish a book of the Torah, so that Shabbat is called Shabbat Chazak. Everyone says at the end of the Torah reading, Chazak, Chazak. So the Torah is the Shabbat, coming Shabbat, is called a strong Shabbat. Every Shabbat that we finish a whole entire book of the Torah, if there was 5 books, right? We say Shabbat Chazak, Chazak, Vanit Chazak. I know. I guess when they finish, yeah. I know. Shatoch and Shabbat, these Shavuot, and this year, especially in the 9 days, is Chizuk, being strength, Bekium, doing Torah mitzvahs. That's the whole idea of the 4 books. And the Shabbat strengthens it. So, but one second, it's one of the Shabbat of the 3 weeks. It should be weak. What's going on? So we're going to see how it is that specifically this bad thing brings about something really good. The destruction of the temple and the weakness of the Jewish people, that itself will cause a new type of strength. There we go. Yuvim behektem, we can understand this by preceding. Biur, an explanation. The kesher, and regarding the relevance of chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek to this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Matot Maseh. That's what we just finished learning in Lukuti Torah. Shebezeh nichlal, this is a chazak, the matot, the chazak, the maseh. We're going to say at the end of the reading, chazak, chazak, be strong, and we will be strengthened, right? So what's there to be strengthened? So this says there's 2 types of strength that are presented by the 2 topics of this week's Torah reading. One is matot. Matot means the tribes. The word mata means a staff. And masa'eh means to journey, to move. So 2 types of strength. One type of strength of being immovable, that's like a staff, it's firm. And masa'eh means to be movable. Chazak, and when you join, so there's 3 types of being strong. one type of being strong of matot, the staffs, one type of being strong of the journeys, and another type of being strong when these two are joined together, matot masa. Okay, I think everybody knows the story, but I'll repeat the story again. Two stories. One story is the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, when he was put into prison and he was sentenced to death. So immediately when he went in, he made a resolution that he was not going to be intimidated by these people at all. If they were going to kill him, they could do what they wanted to. God forbid. They could, but to be intimidated by them, in any way to show any sort of fear or surrender to them in any way, he refused. He totally defied them. And he was totally in their hands. He was helpless. He was totally helpless. They had guns. They could do anything they wanted to him. He had no way possibly of protecting himself. According to nevertheless, he said, in the moments that while I'm remaining alive, I'm not in any way going to bend to them. That's strong. That's being strong. Right. Another story with the Rebbe, that the Rebbe would walk. This is in the earlier years. He would walk down the street to go to his mother's house. He would visit his mother every day. And while he was there was a policeman standing on the corner, a non-Jewish, and the Rebbe would say to him, hello. He would like wave, say, hello, good morning. And he would wave to this person or whatever. He would lift his hand, whatever. Maybe he would shake his hand, whatever. Good morning, good morning. And when the Rebbe would walk down the street, so there were the store owners. I guess he would walk down Kingston Avenue. That was the main place for the store. The store owners would come out to see the Rebbe and say hello. And the Rebbe would nod his head to them, nod his head. So one of them asked the Rebbe, why is it that to me you just nod your head, and to the non-Jews you say a hello and you this? And the Rebbe said, I think he said from my father. He said, I learned from my father, whatever, from the previous Rebbe, to never bend my head to a non-Jew. To say hello, to be friendly, to shake his hands, to hug him, to whatever it is, but not to bend down, not to bend over. In other words, the world is not going to, and this is a pleasant thing, a pleasant thing. Okay, the Rebbe was not, being, how do you say, trying to be holy and not to talk. He spoke to them, he said, good morning, right? But the world is not going to make me bend my head. That's the point. That's to be too strong. That's what it means to be strong. That's what we just finished speaking about in the United Nations. It's just pitiful how the Israeli delegation, how they act, how they defend themselves. It's pitiful. There's just no strength whatsoever. There's no power whatsoever. They're just, why are you picking on us? Why we want to be nice guys? You have to be powerful. You have to be strong. You have to be pleasant. You have to be pleasant. And our idea is not to conquer anybody, but it certainly is not to let anybody conquer us. Certainly. And that strength comes from the Torah. Oh, so now the Rebbe says there's three types of strength. And that's symbolized by this Shabbat when we finish the fourth book and everyone screams out, Chazak, Chazak, be strong, and we will be strong. So the Rebbe, there's three types, three strongs, we say, be strong, and we will be strengthened. One type of, we can learn from this week's Torah portion, matot, maseh, and when they're joined together. Matot, we'll see, is one type of strength, means staffs. Maseh means journeys, another type of strength. And when they're joined together, there's another type of strength, defiance. Inyan chazak, this idea of tokef, power, defiance, chazak, ubeprat, and especially three times, chazak, this is relevant to matot. This is especially relevant to the name of the first Torah reading that we read, matot. What matot means, in this case, it means the tribes of the Jewish people when they traveled in the desert, but they traveled according to their tribes. Each tribe, there were three camps, and each camp had three tribes in it, and that's how they traveled, Reuven and Yehuda. Ki mateh, but the word mateh also means a staff like a pole. Ala chozek v'tokev shel bal yishoneh. It shows on a strength that will never be changed, like a mateh. This is a chazak v'kasha, like a branch of a tree, which you take to be a staff. A staff is a hard thing, like a cane, but a staff is even higher. It's good. It's powerful. Ad shemata hu lashon memshala v'surara. Like it says, matot uz et shivte mushalim. Mate means a rulership, a powerful rulership. The word mate itself means to rule. Rule. It's a sentence in Ezekiel. It's a sentence in Ezekiel. Matos. So the word matot means rulership, which is not the case mas'eh. Mas'eh, this indicates chalishut. I'm sorry, halicha v'nesiya, not being stable, moving. V'yisa haloch v'nesoah. From one place to another. He doesn't stay on his place. That he goes to another place. In other words, you're not stable in one place. Matas means you're unmoving. Nothing will move me. And maseh means exactly the opposite. Nothing will keep me stable. I'm moving all the time. That the true moving, which is nekar, a person removes himself totally from one place and he goes to another place, which is an incomparable place to the first one. That's the opposite of being strong and being powerful. Often built to the Yishan that you won't retreat, if you want to call it, right? You have problems, you leave the place, move on. From this, that what we are announcing in synagogue, be strong, and we will be strengthened. It means the olam, it is always like it is matot maseh. When matot and maseh are joined together, when do we say it? At the end of the second Torah portion, maseh, which means journeys. So this indicates that the tochen, that the real content of this idea, be strong, and we will be strengthened, this is especially relevant to the journeys. Ella kama shanim, there are many years, sometimes they're joined together, etc. Okay, again, what's the Rebbe saying? The Jewish people are opposed. The Jewish people are challenged by the whole world. And that's the way it's been since Abraham. The Jewish people were small and they were against an incomparably formidable enemy. The whole entire world. What's the job of the Jewish people? The job of the Jewish people is not just to maintain existence, not just that's a good thing, of course, but to transform the world. How are the Jews transforming the world? By making everybody aware that there's a creator that's creating them. That's all, not to do what I say, to do what the creator says. He's creating you. In order to do that, we have to be strong. In order to do our job, we have to be strong, assertive. We have to be certain of ourselves. We have to be certain of our task in the world. And these types of certainty and, stability, strength, are illustrated in this week's Torah portion. Now, everything comes from the Torah. The Torah is not just another book. It's not just a book of the Jews. It's not just another book in the self-help section of Barnes and Noble or something. The Torah is the blueprint of reality. And we're here in reality to change the world, to improve the world. So this is giving us strength to improve the world. Should we start this? It's a little bit long. Okay, we'll do a couple of lines. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazak. Chazaka, something which is strong, which usually chazaka means something which is permanent. It's the number 3. Like I said, if a person does something 3 times, it's considered to be a chazaka. In Judaism, if you do something 3 times, it's considered to be a chazakah. Let's say every day before you pray, you give a $5 bill to charity. Well, if you do it 3 times in a row, then it's considered to be a chazakah, and you really should continue doing it. You should continue the next day. You're not supposed to give just $1. or you can wait a day and then give another day. If you give 3 days in a row, that's called a chazakah. It means this is what it's almost like an oath. Like an oath. Okay, there's details and details, but that's generally the law. You do something for 3 times in a row, it's considered to be a certainty. It's like you made a vow. And especially if it's 3 times is like a vow. And if you make a vow 3 times, 3 times 3, chazak, chazak, benit chazek, be strong, that's 3. And when you say that 3 times, that stresses a chozek v'tokef, even what b'makom sheyesh menaged. This shows not just being strong, which being strong is attained by doing something 3 times, but you're being strong 3 times. That shows a triple strength, if you want to call it 9 times strength. The one number, this indicates on a situation that is only good. I'm sorry, the number 1. The number 1 indicates something that's good, that number 1. Number 2, that already shows on an argument. 2 shows that there's 2 forces going here. And generally there's the original 1, and then there's an opposing 1, another 1. 3, this shows on what's called a synthesis. Chozek v'tokef v'kedusha, which that shows that the opposite strengthens you. You come to a new level of strength. I think in English it's called thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Something like that. You can forget, just big words, not important. Popped into my mind. Pop it out also. Here we go. Ready? But b'chozek v'tokef mispar shlosh. The number, like there's people that are hermits, right? They want to go and they live a hermit. They don't want to be bothered with the world. A lot of these religions, even, they stress you. That's what you have to do. You want to get. So if you're a hermit, it goes pretty good, being a hermit. If you can get used to the loneliness or whatever, so nobody contradicts you, and nobody makes trouble for you, and nobody disturbs you, and you can do what you want. You can think what you want. You can say what you want, right? The problem of a thing like that is that you never really grow. You never really lived. You never had any experience. But you could say, okay, so what? So what? So that's number 1. Number 2, right? People, they don't want to get married. They don't want to have any children. Number 1 is yourself. You're firm. You're stable, strong. Number 2 shows that there's something opposing you, something other than you. Oh, that's already troubles. That's already problems, right? That's like I say, why people don't want to get married. I don't want to ever do that. I have to share my house with somebody else. I have to share my meals with somebody else. To share the bathroom with somebody else. I have to share this, right? And somebody's going to knock on the bathroom door. Somebody's going to. I have to do things that other people want. No. I don't want to do that. So that's number 2. That's already like disturbing. It's like disturbing. Number 3 is maybe there's a joint, some sort of a glue, a higher force that can unite both of them together. Ideally, that's the idea of a wedding, that God is supposed to join people together in the wedding. That's supposed to be the idea. That's in Jewish wedding. It's God is what joins them together. Mitzvah Elyon. That comes from something above, something above the both of us. That's what's called harmony. Hainu chozek v'tokef hamshachas, or a kedusha. This is drawing down the light of holiness everywhere. Gam b'makom sheyesh nigud, even places where there is opposition. Mitzad gadol milas, or because a new type of light, a new type of reality, shehu b'ligavu, which is unlimited. So therefore, this number 3 shows, number 1, that I'm attaching myself to something just outside of me and my opposition, something, a third thing, peace. Number 2, mitzad tachton, from us. Sha'avoda, the Allah's tachton, going from below to above, is a way of chozek v'tokef, levatal amenaget, to negate any opposition. And even more, to transform it to holiness. So, here we go. 1 second. Let's just cut this off 1 second. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so here we go. This is life. This is life, my friends. This is life. 1, 2, 3. 1 is yourself. 2 is the world. Maybe we should get away from the world. The world has a lot of troubles, a lot of problems. Get out of the world. Some people, they take drugs, they take this, they want to get out of the world just to be alone. Number one, I just feel myself. Number two is the world. The world is already problems. The world is already problems. But because of the world, as you can come to a resolution, I want to resolve this problem, not to ignore it, not to run away from it, but to be strong, to find some way that I can include this problem in my life, that it won't be a problem anymore, to make myself bigger. It says, therefore, in order to do that, you have to draw from a higher place in your soul, from something above you. And number two is you have to elevate yourself to that place. You have to be strong. You have to be not affected negatively by the opposition. And you have to, yes, attach yourself to something that's higher, that you can make a harmony, a synthesis between you and the opposite. Number three, that's ideally the idea of getting married. Getting married. Married, there's no bigger opposites than a man and a woman, right? But if there's a third thing that unites them together, and then they can overlook their differences and overlook the problems and overlook, then both of them become elevated to a more real world, a more real and a less egotistical world. So that's the idea of chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek that we're saying now is the Jews are God's people. Then there's the world, which the world is the opposite. We have to somehow or other not run from the world or destroy the world or defeat the world, but somehow or other find a common factor between the two of us that we can achieve, and it will strengthen us in everything that we do, a purpose, a reason, what do you want to call it, a reality, and that's more real than just my own selfish reality. And the opposition brings me to that. In English, it's called experience. Experience brings us to a higher level of reality. And that's the whole idea of the Torah bringing peace. And this, God willing, we will talk about more tomorrow. That this, how this is embodied in Matot Umaseh.